that's uh, help them to do the transition or learning the MuleSoft. For that, when they wants to when they passed out from their engineering career, they can have the good knowledge of MuleSoft and Salesforce. And when we went into the college, it is very difficult to cover all the topics, all the chapters in the details, right? And that is the reason we have the virtual event also, right? So in the virtual events we have the series of topics, right, where we cover in a sequence, right, all the minors and major topics we will select there, so that every newcomers or who wants to uh, learn in depth in the MuleSoft, they can benefit from here. So that is the reason to running into the both the mode. So now I hand over to Mani. He will run the show today. In between, if you guys have any questions, you can raise your hand, or you can write your questions into the chat sections. We will handle those questions end of the sessions and also in between. So don't worry about to ask the question in between. This is not the one way session where only one person will that's just take a class like that's college or a schools, right? It is the place where we can discuss, right? So it's the both way communication may happens, right? So I would appreciate if you give your points, right? If you think that that points need to be added, feel free to add. Or if you think that you need clarification, or you want to go more details, or if you have any queries on that part, you can
Yeah,
raise your concerns as well, so that we can together we can handle those situations, right? So we are all experts, right? And it is not the one person is expert, not, another doesn't know anything, right? So we are all are the similar levels, right? Not equal, similar, but if you know that sharing knowledge is the more beneficial, right? So we can increase manifold our knowledge when we share together. Okay. So over to you, Mani. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, Hi all, thanks for the joining the session. Let me introduce myself. I am Manirohender Velpula. I am working as a software engineer at Technologies as a MuleSoft developer. I have 6+ years of experience in IT, 4+ years of experience in MuleSoft. I'm a top community blog writer and mentor. Uh, like this is a interactive session. If you have any, like if you are not having any questions, please unmute and you can ask the questions. Yeah. Uh, Here we are like speakers and host organize the meeting, a meetup as at individual capacity. We are not representing any organization. This is for the strictly learning purpose only. We are not holding any responsibility for the solutions for the business use cases. For the and also we are not promoting any promotional activities here. Thank you. Yeah, today our agenda is like we are going to discuss on error handling. Like we are going to discuss on what is error and what is error handling and what are the mails. What are MuleSoft error handling, like default error handling and unerror propagate, unerror continue, rise error and global error handling. Yeah. What is error? Like an error exception occurs when an unexpected event happens while processing. For example, we are connecting to the database. We are connecting to the database. We are having issues with the database having issues with the connectivity issues. So we will receive as a connectivity issue. So, but our target system, we need to give the response to the certain systems, right? That will accept agreed with some formats. So we need to use the error handling based upon the requirement. We have to pass the proper agreed format data to the respected system. Yeah. Here I have created like it is a one flow in MuleSoft. In the Mule flow consists of source and processes and error blocks. Here you can see this is a source, and in the event processor it's got error, and automatically flow will stop and it will go to the error handling block. In the error handling block, what are the event processor there? It will execute based upon the error type. Okay. Yeah. If suppose if we are not handling any error in the error block, it will go to the default error handler. I will discuss you on the session, like I will show you the example how it goes to the default error handler once I'm showing the demo. Yeah. If
So Mani
any,
is in your presentation mode. Can you go to the presentation mode?
yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Any error occurred in the flow, it will create an object. Okay. It object consists of many properties like description, error type, error exception, these kind of details. Yeah, like we have error type, right? In the error type consists of error like identifier and namespace. Using this error type, we can identify the issue and we can send the data, like we can transform the, like based upon error type, then we can route the respective source that placed in the error handler, like what are the error block we are placing. Based upon the error type only, we can, it will propagate to the next flow, next step, I can say. Yeah. Yeah, when we in the HTTP listener, we have a responses block. One is a success response block and one is the error response block. Error response block is by default it's having our output a text plain and error dot description. When we are creating the application, by default it will like when we are creating application without raml, by default you will see a error dot error description. When we are creating the application using a raml, you will see as a payload here. So if based upon your requirement, after creating a RAM application without raml, you have to change this to the payload instead of error dot error description. Yeah, if any in the flow level, if any error got occurred based upon the responses, like if it is a error, like it will come to the error response block, then will it print the values, like when it is a success scenario, it will give a 200 responses code, status code, and when we are receiving as an error response, it will give a 500 error response codes. Based upon the requirement, we can override the values in the HTTP listener. Yeah, under propagate and continue. In the propagate, if the error type is handled using error propagate, it will catch the error and it will propagate to the response to the next flow, next level. Whatever we are handling in the error block, it will execute uh, all the flow processes in the error block. When it comes to the error propagate, it will propagate the, like if the propagate the particular error, like we are catching any particular error, it will propagate to the success response to the next level of processor. It will give you 200 success always by default. Yeah, what is the difference between error propagate and continue? Error propagate will stop the process and it will give the error response. When it comes to the error continue, it will stop the process and it will give the success response. This is the only difference. Always propagate will give the error status code is a 500. Continue is given 200 status code.
Okay, so in simple scenario, what that's I want to convey here is right. So well, Mani has explained right, but what I would like to my point is, in error right, there is a, as I said in the Mule earlier, if you have worked on the Mule 3, there is a multiple error type right, but they simplified into the Mule 4. Now it is only two types of error right. One is the error on continue and error on propagate right. Name itself says right, in on error on continue right. So whatever the logic or flow you have right, so if error occurs right, and if you are using the error on continue, that means you are saying that okay, error occur, but don't stop the flow, process further right. And that is the reason it's processing further, you get the success response right. But on the error on continue propagate, you are saying that okay, suspend it here, propagate this error to the next level okay, so that what happened next propagation level is the mule error level. Mule take this error and then finally it will respond back to the user. So that propagation happens. So in on propagate, the error is propagated, suspending the further flows. On error continue, okay, depends on the situation, you can continue further as well, right? So that is the main difference between two. Okay, and very simple into the mule 4, right? So depends on the when you use the error continue and on error on the propagate in the business scenarios, right? So when you write, so you know that's right. If the further, you know that if error occurs and also next level should to be run or execute, then you will use the error on continue, right? But if you see that error occur, this is the critical business issue, right? We cannot go further, right? So there you will use the error on propagate. Yeah, Mani. Yeah.
Yeah, I have created few scenarios here. Like you can, as I mentioned, right? Yeah, this is a flow. We are having listener. Yeah, in the process level, error got occurred. You can see there was no error handler here. So by default, as I mentioned, right? If there is no, if we are not handling any error at flow level, it will automatically it will go to the default error handler. Okay, here you can see it got through an error automatically. That is going to the mule default error handler, then it will throw an error, it will return a response, error response, as I mentioned, right? By default it will take a 500 status code. Based upon your requirement you can override that status code, you can use the variables and you can do that. Yeah, here I have created one more scenario to explain. Yeah, here earlier we don't have any error handler. Here now I have created and propagate. Here if the any error occurred in the flow level, it will, in the process level it got errored out, it will stop the flow and it will come to the error block. Based upon like here we have to check the in the, I will show you in the studio also. Like in the error type we have levels, like we have top level is any, you can remember this. In the based upon the connectors you can get the all the error types, like connectivity, unauthorized, whatever errors are based upon your flow, what are the connectors you are using. You have to select based upon the your handler. But suppose consider it is a any, okay, it will come to the error block and it will raise a error to the listener flow. Like it will come to the listener error responses. Yeah, you can see here we are error got the thrown and it will go to the error propagate scope and it will give you a error get it will throw an error and it will print the error response here. And next scenario, instead of propagate, here I mentioned continue. What will happen, it will behave same, like it will also error out but it will give a success response 200, as I mentioned, right? It will go to the listener and it will print the 200 status code with the success response. I will go to the studio now. I will demonstrate a few examples here. First we can go to the default error handler. Here you can see I have created one flow. This flow having HTTP listener. Listener, you can see in the configurations, just I'm giving the, like everyone need to understand, that's why I'm showing. Yeah, in this listener I'm not I'm not adding any HTTPS or something, just I'm giving HTTPS and port details. Then here I'm giving one endpoint, it is a error. Okay, next in the transform message I'm printing the one message before HTTP request. This is the payload, just I want to print to show you. Okay, next I am having one HTTP requester. This HTTP requester having some URL, I'm just hard coded the URL here. Okay, if I go to here, this is the URL. If I send a request to this, we are getting a response, right? Okay, but I'm adding appending one here, then it will throw an error. This one I'm taking to get the some error to showcase. Okay, here you can see I have concatenated, I have added appended one here, and I configured. Let me add a one debugger and I will show you one more thing. As I mentioned, right, if I go to HTTP listener, In the responses block, in the responses tab, here by default, when you are creating a mule application, by default, like without raml, it will create a error dot description with a text plain. When you are creating the application using a raml, by default, it will create, it will as a error response body as a payload. Based upon requirement, you can change it to the payload. Most of the time, it's required payload only here. Otherwise, it will print it as a text plain with the error description. Other values we cannot print it. So you can mention here. Okay, next, here you can see in the error handler block, I'm not handling any error. Okay, let me deploy this application. You can see the difference. How it go to the default error handler. I'm explaining a very basic level to understand everyone. After the session, definitely you will learn error handling, like propagate, continue, rise error. Uh, if we have having time, we can go to the type block, and I will. I have seen some few puzzles like questions. We can together resolve, like solve the questions. We can get to more understanding over there.
Yeah, correct. And this is very important if you go for the certification, right? So if you go to the developer one or developer two certification, so couple of questions come from the scenario based, which is on the error handling part, right? To basically focus on the on continue and on propagate, right? When it has been in the flow level or sub flow level or private flow level. So it is very important topic. Exam perspective as well, and learning perspective definitely it is, right?
Yeah, application got deployed. Let me send a request. Okay, let me go to Postman here. I can change to the error. I'm sending a request. I've added debugger here. Okay, I'm going to next step. It got error out with the, like as I mentioned, right? I want to tell you one more thing. Yeah, whenever any error occurred in the flow, it will create a object. This is an object, error object. It's consist of all the details like description, detailed description, error type. In the error type, we have namespace and identifier, as string. All the details will come based upon as I mentioned, right? We have to map it based upon your requirement. Yeah. Now, let me go to the next step. Yeah, it is going to the. Oh, give me a second. Oh, sorry. This is already, I have added a default error handler, global error handler. That's why it's coming. Okay. Let me do it.
So till the time he is doing, what I would like to tell you, one thing you have observed that, right? So whenever error occurs, there's an error object is being created, right? So the payload, whatever you have the original payload, it persists, right? And there's a new error object is created. So when you see that, right, when you put the error description, what you need to put, right, either payload or error dot description or error object, it depends on the your requirement, right? So if you put over there the payload, then whenever the error occurs, you need to override the payload. If it is the entire error object you want to return back, or any variable you want to return back, you have to replace by that variable or error object. Just you want to return the error description, then you can just return the error dot description, what is by default come over there, right? So that part is, that's you need to focus on, you need to remember as well. Sometimes what happens, right, people implementing, and then they are not seeing the what exact error message expecting into the console or in the as a output, right? And that times they are struggling to find why it's happening, this behavior. This is the that's minor things which people mostly neglect in negligence. Due to this negligence, they have spent a lot of time to fix it, right? So that is very important point, how to override this value, payload or error description in this section at the listener level.
If you want to override the status code, here you can use the, like, you can create a variable in the flow level. You can define as a static level. If you are coming error code from the some third party application, when you are calling other application, you can use it in the, you can capture that value in the variable, and you can call the variable here. Definitely that value will overwrite here. Just I want to show that. Yeah, what's application failing? Let me see.
So Mani, your screen sharing is gone. Mani, can you hear us? Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
back. Yeah.
yeah. Like I have some interruption, like with the power.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, let me send a request. Yeah, receive the request. Yeah, here next in the HTTP requester, it will throw an error. Yeah, you can see it is saying connectivity issue. Okay, let me go to the next step. Yeah, it is automatically, it will go into the HTTP listener, and it will printing the values, like you can see, like the printing the error response, 500 error response, and whatever before I'm printing, right, HTTP listener, sorry, HTTP requester, before HTTP requester, this message is printing as a response. Here you can see. Okay, let me uh, tell you one more thing here. Yeah, let me discuss on another propagate and continue. Okay, is there any questions in the start?
Hi, Manish. Shankari here. I have one question.
Yeah, please.
So, I don't clearly actually understand what is happening here because initially you said the actual page where the success response is expected, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
After that, how did that? How can you show me where the HTTP connectivity issue is exactly with that? Like how it is
okay. Yeah, let me
starting
show
from?
you in the another propagate or continue level. Just stop that
Ah,
application.
okay.
Yeah, as I mentioned, right, in like when we are receiving an error, automatically like it will create a object, error object. That object consists of multiple. In the properties, we are having error type and error description. Error data, like when we mentioned error dot error description, like error dot error type, then we can get to know that what kind of error we have received. I will show you once. Are able to see my screen, right?
Yes, yes, I'm able to see this.
Yeah, let's discuss meanwhile. Yeah, I have created two flows. Not here. This is one of application I have created as a demo error. In the application, I have created few XML files. One is the on error continue, on error propagate. Two, I want to differentiate, and I want to, like, I will compare both. What is the difference continue and propagate? I have created multiple examples. I will show you one by one. Here, let me explain flow. What, like, most of the flows having HTTP requester, and it's having issue like a connectivity issue. And we are going to observe what will happen while we are using propagate and continue. If we are having any child flow, like we are calling from flow reference to another flow, how the application behaves. I will show you that. Yeah, application got deployed. Yeah, now this is the flow. Yeah, here earlier I haven't handled any error, right? Here I'm using before that, here in the palette, if you type with the error, here in the connector, it's like error components. One is the error handler. Using this error handler, just I'm giving an overview on these components. Error handler, the error handler, while you are using error handler, we can create a global error handler. Okay, I will show you that one. Here there are on error continue, propagate, rise error. When it comes to the rise error, we can create a custom error. For that purpose, we can use this one at flow level or error block level, wherever we want. Like in the flow level, we can use this one. Okay, let me go to on error propagate here.
So in
As
the you can understand better in this way, right? Error handler, this component give you a flexibility where you can define your own error strategy, or you can handle error by own, right? You can
yeah,
create a error file and handle all the error in a single place, right?
yeah,
On
uh,
error continue and or error propagate is the that's a way to handle the error. And through raise error, right? So raise error is right whenever you have to create the custom error, okay, and in between the flow, right, you want to interrupt it explicitly, right? You don't want to move ahead further, right? That times the raise error component will help, right? So either you can stop or terminate the flow there only, and you can redirect to it to a different directions, or inside the if error occurs you can customize that error, right, override your error mechanism.
yeah, yeah. Like I can show you that error handler. Using that error handler, we can create a one of the application. We can publish to the exchange. We can use that application in multiple applications without writing error handling in multiple application. We can use the use it as a global error handler. I will show you that one. How can we utilize that one? Just I can create. I will show you sample demo. Okay, let me share on this propagate. Yeah, like here as I mentioned, right, this anyway I'm giving a wrong URL. It will give a connectivity issue. Then it will come to the error propagate. Okay, here you can see I didn't provide any error type. By default, if I didn't provide any error type, by default it will take it as a any. If I click on here, you can click on search button. Yeah, these are the error types here, like HTTP, bad gateway, bad request, client security, connectivity, forbidden. These are the level types are available. If I didn't mention anything, it will take it as a any automatically. If you click on this one, and if you just I have clicked and I came back, right, automatically type will be come as any. This is the top level of error type here. Okay, let me remove this one. You can see the difference. Automatically it will go to this one, right? If let me debug this application, like P1. Yeah. Yeah, you can see we have received the request. Yeah, someone asked, right, where we can see the error connectivity issue. Yeah, as I mentioned, right, one more time showing here. After HTTP request call, we got the error. We have, like, it's created an error object in the where it's consists of error description. You can see description result couldn't resolve the address, like this error type having. So this is actually, we know that this is definitely we can get that error continuity. We are going to see that what will happen after like we are handling using another propagator, right? We can see. Let me go to the next. I have to add one more error under here. Yeah, it propagate. You can see I didn't provide any error type. By default, it's taking any, and it came to the error like if it is an error propagate or continue. I provide anything, it will consider as a any, and it will error block. Okay, here error propagate in the payload and as a inside on propagate. Okay, let me see what kind of error we can see that at the end of the flow. You can see under propagate always give the 500 response, and we are not having the error type, but it's taking as any. It is going to the error block and it's printing the value like payload inside on error propagate. Until this part, are you clear? Do you have any questions?
Yes, I have one.
Yeah.
So between honor, propagate, and continue, which is the default error handling mechanism?
What?
So in this scenario,
Hmm.
you you have put honor propagate, right?
Ah.
So if you are not mentioning anything explicitly, which
Hmm.
type of mechanism is initiated? Is
Like
it propagate or
as I mentioned, right? By if I didn't mention, for suppose I have like me toggle comment this one. You can consider in this block there is no error. I'm not handling any error. At that time, it will go to the default error handler. Here you can see. Here I'm not handling any error here, but it's printing, right? It is going to the, here you can see HTTP responses, error responses block. By default, it is taking as a payload. It will print the whatever payload before error. Like here, it will print before HTTP request. Yeah. Are you clear now?
so by default it is propagate? If the error mechanism is propagate, can I consider it that way?
Oh. Can you repeat? It's breaking.
Okay, yes.
What was the question?
I think we lost her. We
Okay.
could not able to hear.
Okay. We
So
can go to the error
yeah.
continue.
So
Then,
once you back, please repeat your question so that we can address these questions. Or
yeah,
in
yeah.
the questionnaire section, right? Just you add your question, okay, and we will address that questions.
Yeah. Same flow I have copied. Like we are having same flow, but in the error block I'm handling error with the another continue. Let's see what will happen once I will send a request. As I mentioned, right, it will give you a 200 response. Here you can see it got a connectivity error. Then it will go to the another continue. Let me show you the response. You can see status code with the 200. inside error, inside on error continue. Like here in this block got executed. That's why the set payload is printing. Okay. Okay. Next, when it comes to the on error propagate and continue, I will tell you few points. If the error is handled using on error propagate, it will raise a error. Like if it is a first, let me making uh, some statements. Here, see, here you can see. Here I have flow reference. This is flow reference is calling this flow. This is a private flow I have created. Same HTTP request I'm using. Here I'm handling few errors. Okay, what will happen uh, if you are having two flow using a flow reference? What will is in the propagate? It will raise a error back to the calling flow, and it will give you a error with the response like 500 as a default. We can override it. When it comes to the on error continue, it will not raise the error back to the calling flow. It will execute rest of the flow after flow reference, but it will not continue if the error is handled. For suppose HTTP requester, we are having connectivity issue. I'm handling here, right? In this case, it will not continue this flow after flow reference. It will give the response. When we are using the continue, it will always give the success response as a 200. And suppose if we have seen, right, if we are having only single flow like this, we are not calling any other flow like private flow or subflow, it will give you, it will not like so propagate and continue behave same. It will not continue for the next step. Always error propagate will give the 500, error continue will give the 200 response code. Do you have any questions here? Like if you want to repeat, I can repeat and I can show you.
So in the simple way, what we can say that if the error occur at the flow level, okay, so either it's happen on error continue or on error propagate. The flow is suspended. It will not move further, but difference you would see in the status code. On the error code, it will be the 500 if it is error on propagate. You will see the status code 200, which means success response if error is on continue. The difference you would see when it will come onto the private flow.
Yeah, like this. Let
Sorry,
me trigger one request.
can I ask one question? So
Please go ahead.
for the on error propagate scenario, if can you scroll to the top, the first example? So if the request return a 401 unauthorized, is it gonna
Mhm.
override the status code to 500?
No, not.
I'm
It
sorry.
will not. Yeah,
It will
like
not. It will pass over the 401.
this is a flow, right? Honor propagate flow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it will. It is honor propagate is a. Here you can see we are not finding any type. By default, it's taking as a any. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
error type.
Mm-hmm.
Then it will come to this one. It will go to the error responses. Here
Mm-hmm.
by default it will come as a latency status code. If you are
Mm-hmm.
having some variable, if you are capturing for suppose HTTP requester, like you are got a 400 or something,
Attribute
uh,
status code. Okay.
you
Got
have
it.
to create a variable here. Then you can
Mm-hmm.
add this variable
Pass
here, like
over the status
then
code. Got it. Got
then
it.
you
Okay.
override.
Makes sense. Got it. Cool. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Let me. Any questions? Can I
Yeah,
continue?
am I audible?
Yeah, yeah,
Mike? Yeah. So I have a question here, like
yeah.
not related to exactly this mechanism of error handling you have mentioned. Like one scenario I was facing, that's why I'm asking. Like if
Mm.
in a single flow, we have number of request connectors are there,
Okay.
and let's say two request connectors are there in a flow,
Hmm.
and both are having their separate HTTP connectivity
Hmm.
issue, and we wanted to handle separately to both of the requesters. Let's say one request is giving some HTTP connectivity issue, so we wanted to put some different payload,
Hmm.
and another one is facing that same issue, HTTP connectivity. We wanted to get response in different payload, like that.
Okay, you're expecting as a response is like for suppose in the payload response payload, like for suppose I mentioned inside error or poor HTTP requester, right? You want that two error responses in the one payload. You have to return to the response as a response, right? Correct.
Yeah, yeah, that's okay. But for same HTTP connectivity issue in both request connectors,
Hmm.
we want different,
First
payload.
point,
Yeah,
when you are having HTTP requester like this, okay,
yeah, yeah.
if it is if it is failing here and definitely it will not go to the next step if you are having single flow. First point,
Mhm.
you are handling this error here, then it will go to here, and automatically it will give the response back to the it will give to the HTTP listener, and it will print the responses code, whatever responses here, it will print based upon your whatever
Yeah.
you are.
But Mani, generally what we do, which is not implemented here, global error handler we do, right? So at the end, that flow goes to that global error handler and then print that whatever the payload is there in HTTP connectivity section in global
Yeah,
error.
here in this
Hmm.
case, you are asking in this case, right? Here we are not using any global error handler. Just we are using propagator continue. Like what am I explaining? If it is a global error handler, that is a different case. All the applications will any error will happen. It will come to the global error handler, and it will print the whatever response, like whatever error in the global error,
Yeah.
whatever.
So like let's say request one or request two R1 R2. So if there is an connectivity issue R1, then it
Hmm.
will go to the global error handler in the
Hmm.
section of HTTP connectivity, print the payload, whatever we have defined there.
Then
And if there is an
it will not continue to the next step. It will not execute
yeah,
the second R2 request.
yeah, R2. Yeah, that's fine. But in the next scenario, let's say next thread came,
Mm,
and in that thread, R2 is having a connectivity issue. Then
mm.
also it will go to that global error handler and same
Error
HTTP
will be.
connectivity and print the same payload. But we
Mm,
want different payload at that time.
Okay, so Anand, answer your
Yeah.
question is right. So if you
Yeah.
see the different payload, right? If it is the different thread, right? So it will be the
Hmm.
different communications, right? So
Hmm.
first thread which will give the different request, right? You request it, right? R1 request, it get failed, right? It goes to
Hmm.
global handler, right? And you got the response, right? Whatever the
Correct, correct.
payload, you will see that. When the
Hmm.
other thread comes, right? It R1 passed, it come to the R2, right? R2
Hmm.
failed, right? Global
Yeah,
error
yeah,
handler is being called, right? And
yeah.
respond back to the T2 thread, right? So it's not the same person, right? Will get it. The person they get the two different response, right? It never happen, right? If as is said, right, at the level T R1, if it is failed, respond back from there only, right? If R2 fail, it will respond back to there only. If there is a scenario, if you create, right, like scenario R1, right, if R1 fail, still you want to move to the R2. Okay, that case is also possible, right? So what happen is R1 and R2, right? After that R2 level, whatever the payload, right? If you want to keep the both the payload, okay, you can create a variables, right? Inside that you club both the payload, right? And you can return as a payload, right? Override the payload, that value will go, right? Error kind of things, right? You can aggregate the error message, aggregate the status code, right? And final status code, only one status code will go, right? So everything in your control, it's depend on how to handle that scenarios.
Yeah. And one more thing, like from my side, like if you are having
Hope
R1,
I
R2,
got the answer, right?
Uh,
you can use the try catch and you can handle the error based upon your requirement, if
uh,
that will help.
I guess you have given that answer, but exactly I don't get that point, because for the same HTTP connectivity issue I wanted to get different responses. That's the case. And but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have defined
that's what
single
I'm saying.
I have defined single HTTP connectivity section in global
Mm.
error handler.
Mm. Same connect,
So
same URL you are
uh,
using, and
yeah,
same connect you are using, and you are
yeah,
getting,
yeah,
you want different responses. Then you can
yeah.
use the try block. Okay, you can catch that error. Like you can, for suppose you can. I'm giving like you can.
Hey, hi. Is it Anand? You're asking
Yeah.
that question. So
Yeah.
I wanted to understand, like, if you want to different responses, what you're saying. So from
Mhm.
HTTP requester, are you getting that kind of error type that you want to pursue
Yeah,
for different
yeah.
request?
Error type is HTTP connectivity in both the cases, and we have defined single HTTP connectivity error handling mechanism in error handler, global error handler. And
Okay,
but I am not getting a response from backend actually.
okay,
I wanted to print, custom response
mhm,
for both R1 and R2 whenever there is HTTP connectivity issue happens.
mhm.
But how I will segregate that this response, this error is coming from R1, this error is coming from R2 in global error handler section. That is exactly that question.
Okay, so to again define it, so you have a single HTTP request, but you are making two different kind of call to that requester. So suppose you are reusing that HTTP connector, where your path can be different, right? When you're sending a request to a requester, suppose you are sending request one and request two, and both of them are giving HTTP connectivity error. But
Yeah.
request one will have one kind of path, and request two will be have another kind of path, right? The path will be different or the path will be same.
Uh, path
Uh,
path may be same, because one request came,
Hmm?
and if it passes from R1, it will go to R2.
No.
Right.
So see, then now suppose path in the sense, what I'm saying is the endpoint. The endpoint might be different, right? When you're sending the request.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For both R1 and R2, endpoint is different. Correct.
Yes.
Methods also are using same
Sorry.
method, like get method, post method. What kind of methods are you using?
Maybe they are same, right? In R1 that is get, and R2 that is post method. Whatever response I'm getting from R1, I'll be using in R2, and then I'll make that request like
See,
that.
so in that case, one way is so if you are giving a dynamic path, suppose because you are using a same requester, so on the basis of the endpoint what we are providing, you can segregate that what kind of error you want to send, maybe in a choice that if this is my path and if I get HTTP connectivity error, then this is the response what I need to send for my application. And in that choice you can have a raise error component, so that if the path is say R1, it will go to that choice, it will raise a error for that custom, and that custom raise error will go to your global error handling where you have defined the type of error what you want to have. Okay, and in that way you can customize your response based on the path you are defining.
uh,
So,
Yeah,
what,
Nitin.
so Anna, so I don't know if I understand your question correctly. So there is an option in can you click, and anyone is sharing, can you click the request?
You are talking about the mapping one, John?
Yeah, yeah. Can we map the basically
No,
map these two requests to different kind of custom error, and
no,
in the
no,
global handle them
no.
differently?
The
That's
issue
not the
over here,
issue.
the
Okay.
issue over here, it will be John. Like the requester is same, but the like he has created a dynamic requester where the requested is reusable. So now suppose for path he has given a variable say vars.path, and that vars.path value keeps on changing with respect to his request. So now if you will map it like HTTP connectivity error to something, so again it will go to that particular error, but he doesn't want that. He want is when I am doing request one, if HTTP connectivity error comes, I need to give a separate kind of response. And when I do path2, if HTTP connectivity request, error comes, I need to give us another type of response to that error. So if we'll map it over here, again, it will be the same thing, like giving the same kind of response, because the error type is same.
Yeah, error
When it is
type is the
coming up.
same. Yeah, I
Yes.
misunderstood the question. Yeah,
Yeah.
got it. Okay. Yeah,
So,
that's
so
not the
one way
solution.
is
Mm.
play around with your path, what path you are providing. That is one way. Another way is, if we are using the HTTP requester as a reusable component, so probably you will be using a flow reference or something in your flow, which is calling that requester. So for that flow, you can have a dedicated error handling, where you are stating, like, if it is a HTTP request, HTTP connectivity error, then this is the response what I need to send outside.
So there is a multiple way, right? So
Yeah.
you can handle this scenario, right? And I think very easy way, right? And it is the proper way to handle is you can try with try resource, right? If you go with the try resource, easily you can handle it, right? And in the try, when error occurs, you can raise the particular status code, right? So that segregate that your component as well, right? So you can properly handle whatever you want to handle the error. So that can be handled over there.
Okay. I have another query, like in which scenario error mapping will going to be used.
Can we
I
discuss
just
on
wanted.
on Q&A session, like we are in the middle of?
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Sure. Thank you for these responses. Yeah.
Yeah, good to know, right? People is taking interest, right? Listening carefully. That the reason they have the questions, right?
Yeah.
I appreciate, right? So yeah. I think your voice is not coming, Mani. Are you talking
Like
or?
I'm deploying the application.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Where I would drag and the try catch. That's the reason it got loaded. Yeah. Sleep. Yeah. Here you can see I have received the request. I'm calling a flow reference. This is going to the private flow. Here we are having HTTP requester. This will fail. Step. Yeah, you can see I'm handling this error. Like here,
I think we lost Mani.
yeah,
Yeah,
you can
he's
see
back. I
inside
think, yeah.
private
Sorry for
error.
internet issue. Might be they're having the internet issue. Yeah, go ahead, Mani.
Uh,
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, Mani, you can continue.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for the confirmation. Yeah. In the propagate scenario, we can see this kind of flow in the here we are having private flow. In the private flow, I'm having HTTP requester. In the requester, I'm uh, error type as a like bad request, a bad gateway, and HTTP, like HTTP connectivity issue. Like if I add a debugger and let me send a request to that particular flow, you can see the different behavior. Yeah, we have received the request. It will go to the unerror propagate. Next step, it will go to the unerror propagate. It will print the. It will execute all the block. Then it will go to the flow reference. It will not continue the. You can see the difference. You can continue the next step. You can see we received the response with the 500. When we are using unerror propagate, it will give the 200 success response as a status code. Then next, or suppose like if you are having error handler in the private flow and main flow, how it will work, I will show you. Yeah, it's come to the flow reference, going to the private flow, then it got error. Then yeah, why we are not handling here in the private flow, because here error type is only bad gateway error, but we are received as a connectivity. That's the reason it's not handling here. Then it's coming to the flow reference. Then it will check it here, and if it is that error is handling, then only it will print. It will go to the this error block. Otherwise, it will print the before HTTP whatever flow reference is the right payload. It will print. You can see next step. Yeah, it is not going to here, then automatically we got the response as a before HTTP requester with the 500 status code. Okay. Next, on error continue. In this scenario, like in the private flow and main flow, having error handler with the on continue. Okay. Let me trigger. We got the request. It's going to the HTTP requester. We got error. Then because it's not handling here, we are capturing, we are having only one error type. It's a bad gateway. We are receiving as error as a connectivity. That's the reason it's going to the calling flow. Then it will check it here. Okay. Then here you can see here in the unerror continue, I have two blocks. One is the propagate, is a propagate having a HTTP bad request, so it will not go to the here. Then I have one more block, unerror continue. In here error type is a any. That's the reason it's going to inside flow flow unerror continue. Then it will print the this message. You can see here. You can see one more thing you have observed, right? This particular like error got observed and type got observed, and that's the reason it's not executed in the rest of the flow. It is giving the response with the inside main flow unerror continue with the 200 success response. Okay. Now next we can go to the next step. If I see if I here I have created a try block. Suppose if you want to handle any kind of error in the flow level or connector level, we can use the try block. Okay. We can handle the errors, and we can use, like for suppose if you are using you will get a question like when you see a normal flow, if you see this is the flow having a source and process and error handler. When we see the subflow, it doesn't have any source and error block. So how we can handle this kind of scenario? We can use the try block, and we can catch the error, and we can handle the errors in that kind of scenarios using the try class. In this scenario, right, like another continue. Yeah, here this kind of an HTTP requester, I'm using the try block, I'm handling the error. Okay, then if it is anyway, here we are receiving a connectivity issue, but I'm handling as a bad request, then it will check this try block, then it will check it is another continue. Here not any, I'm not printing any payload here, then it will go to this one, and here it will execute this one, and it will continue it will continue the rest of the flow, and it will give the success response. Let me show you that one. Yeah, we receive the request, it will go to the try block. Inside try block we have HTTP requester, it will give the error, then it will come back to the try, it will to handle, because we are having an honor continue, but we are not catching that error, we are not having that error type as a connectivity issue. That's the reason it's going back. And here in the private flow level, it's checking is there any error handler, is there in the continue we don't have any error, but it will take it as a any, and it will go to the next step. Okay, you can see it's coming to the next step. But here, if I have any payload here, definitely it will print this payload. Currently I am not having any payload here, right? It will print the before HTTP request. This is a request, like I have set a certain payload here, then it will print up to this mark. When it comes to this payload, it will overwrite the next responses payload. You can see success with the 200 status code. Okay, yeah, next in the propagate we can see how we can handle the propagate using try. I have created one scenario, like in the private flow I have using try block, and here I'm catching the error for the propagate. Here also I don't have any type, it will go to this flow, and this error will calling back to the main flow, and it will give the error. Let me show you that one. Yeah, you can see we got the error. It is going to another propagate, because here I didn't provide any error type. It's taking as it is considering as any, then it's printing inside error bar. It will come to the flow reference, and it will give the final response, which is status code 500 inside try block. Until this point, do you have any questions, like between propagate and continue using private flow and subflow?
One thing I would like to add is subflow, right? As he said, right? So there is no no source and exception handling mechanism in there, right? So exception handler. So whatever the main flow exception handler is mechanism is there, subflow follow that main flow if that is not handled with the try resource.
Yeah. Yeah, next we can discuss on rise error. Here, I have created one flow with the age. For suppose when you are applying for the vote, it should be greater than 8. Then only you are eligible for the getting voter, right? Voter list. So I have created one flow here. Just I have added endpoint for the rise. Okay. Here in the just I'm in the transformation. Just I'm printing the payload. Then based upon this payload.h, it choice router will help us to going to the condition. It will, if it is matches greater than 18, then it will go to the this first one, and it will print it as a you're eligible for vote. You're eligible, you can say. I have mentioned eligible, not vote. Then if it is not matched with this condition, it will go to the rise error block. In the rise error block, you can customize the error. As of now, I have mentioned not eligible. You are not eligible. That's what I mentioned. Okay, let me send a request and I can show you this. Yeah, we received the request. Oh, sorry. I have to add payload. Let me complete this flow. In the body, raw JSON. It is smart. to send a request. Yeah, but I didn't added any debugger. That's the reason it's coming to the default uh, choice router. Here you can see. Let me expand a little bit. Here you can see error type is not eligible. I have customized this error here, and also added description. Also, your error. Yeah, description you can see you are not eligible. In this way, you can use the rise error. Any questions here? If you are good with this, already I have completed this one, using private flow. If you want, I can show you the soft flow also. Otherwise, we can go to the global error handler with the example. Yeah, let me go to here. This is a global error handler. Let me delete this. Let me uncomment. Yeah, let me go to the global elements. I have to add the configurations. Global configuration, configuration. Click on configuration. Here you can see the global. First, how can you create? Let me show you that one. Then I can create that one. For suppose, you can go to, you can type as a error. You will get the all components here. You can drag the on error handler. In this error handler, based upon your requirement, you can add the propagate or continue like this. Or suppose I want to add this continue as a one single type streaming, like that. You can add if you are having like this kind of, like you can copy it, or else when you are having multiple connectors in the flow, right? Definitely you can see that here. Okay, in this way you can add it. Okay, just I want to show that one. Yeah, next step, once after adding this error handler, you have to configure the this another propagator continue whatever connectors based upon your requirement. Then next step is you have to go to global elements. You have to configure the global configuration. In the configuration, click on the configuration. Next, after creating the global error handler, right, you will get this global error handler. You can select this one. You can select OK. Then here to here you can see automatically I'm getting the, instead of adding the to handle the error using propagator continue rise error, instead of that one I can get that flow here itself. I can use this global error handler and I can use this one to handle this error. Okay, let me add the debugger and deploy this application. Okay, let me take a endpoint error. I can say it's a none. Here we receive the request. It will give a connectivity issue. It will go to the automatically, you can see where it's coming to the global error handler. In this another continue, I am catching this error with error type is another connectivity. Connect HTTP connectivity is a forbidden. So in this case, connectivity is there, right? So it is coming to this one and it will print the whatever message in the transmission. Let me go to this one and you can see the response. It is global error handler continue on error continue. To understanding purpose, I mentioned on error continue message with the 200 success response. Until this point, if you have any questions, you can ask. Uh, After that, I can revise the whatever topics I covered. I will. We can here. I have seen this quiz. Here we have questions. We can based upon like I will revise the points. What are the steps to we have to remember while we are working on a propagate, continue, rise error, and global error handle. Based upon that, and we can resolve like we can give the answers and we can see how much understanding we are having. Yeah. If you have any questions, please. If not,
Yeah. Hi, Mani. Will we get the link for this quiz so
yeah,
that we can?
I can provide you after this one.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, this is you can search with error under practical quiz, then you can get it. Yeah, let me revise what topics we have discussed till now. Then I can start that quiz. We can together we can answer that. Like you can in the chat box you can give the answer. I can provide. If not, if it is not correct answer, we can discuss and we can go ahead forward. Yeah. First step, you have to see the. Oh, let me remove this one. Okay. Oh, it's not deleting.
Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah,
Hey, hi, Mani. Sabri here.
yeah.
I could see inside this on error propagate or inside on error continue, there is a scope called when. May you know like what specifically it deals with?
Where? What you are asking? Give me a second. Let me go to the flow. Honor propagate and continue.
Maybe it would be helpful like if we can place the cursor in any of the scope, like on error propagate. Can you just
Okay.
click this?
Yeah, this is one.
I mean the component.
So you mean to say what does means any, right? Inside that.
No, the when. After there is a like type option, right? We do have one more option like when. What is the scope of when?
I haven't used this one till now.
Okay,
Which are
okay.
made this way. For the Boolean expressions, you can use this one. Here you can see. Determine this exception strategy should be executed. This should be always be Boolean expressions.
So actually, what is that when error occurs, right? And inside that error, if you want to check the particular condition, right? So that condition you need to place here, right? So error occurs, right? And inside that, handling those particular scenario you want to handle, right? You want to check this if it is expression is become true, right? Then this part will execute, right? Otherwise it will not consider that error, right? So that is the purpose of this.
As in like it is like kind of a subflow, even though like we have a same identifier, is it?
Yeah. So for that, that's you can check the identifier, right? If they resource multiple source, right? Maybe the error is same error, right? But they have set the different condition, you can handle by the different conditions, right?
Okay, okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. First point, like just I'm revising the how can we identify the error, like what kind of error, like like just to revising the what kind of errors we are using and how can we handle. Like just I'm revising the topics. Like yeah, when you are seeing in the like in the error handler, if you're not referencing any another propagator continue, if you're not any and if you're not handling any error, it will automatically it will go to the default handler. First point you can consider, you can remember this point. Next point, if you are having error block with the unerror propagate, it will give the responses with the 500 status code, and it will go to the, it will not continue the flow, even continue and propagate, it will not continue, but it will give the whatever payload before error, it will print. Okay. Next, when we are having private flow or subflow, when we are calling from flow reference to another flow, in the child flow having a propagate, and that error got cached, like that error type is connectivity, for suppose, if that it will go to that block, and it will print the error message, it will we will receive as that kind of error response at the end. When we comes to the, if it is not print, if you are not catching that error, by default it will take it before whatever we received the error, it will and one more thing, it will not continue the rest of the flow after flow reference. When it comes to the flow reference, it will come, it will catch the error, and it will complete the flow after flow reference. Okay. And yeah, this is the points you have to remember. Then we can, if you have any questions you can ask, otherwise we can start, you can give the answers, like I will explain this, what he was expecting from the this flow, and what is the answer, we can discuss. Okay. Here there is a 10 questions. Okay. Most of the, like he is using rise error handler, returns a payload content failure or success. What is the expected payload to be written in the flow? It is a payload A, payload B, payload C. Like he's printing 3 payloads in the flow. In the propagate, he has having value C, and input before error he is having payload as I said value A, and after is having value B. In this particular rise error, this flow got error, and then it will go to the next step. Here it will check the this error is handled or not. You can see here it's not showing anything. By default it's considered as any. Then what will be the response, you can tell me? You can type it in the chat, or
So Prashun has typed the value C. Teja had no payload.
yeah, payload C. Yeah, next.
Because the payload is overriding over there, right? So
Yeah,
that's the reason it's inside the propagate to whatever the value will be printed.
yeah, yeah. Verify knowledge handling error. Majority of the questions or cases are Endpoint Studio. If you are asking specific expertise responses,
Mani, I have a question.
what is the top of error type name? I have mentioned many times. You can tell me. Like otherwise, I will.
Yes. So correct is any, right? So
Next any.
people has most of them has pinged any. Right?
Yeah. Next, we are having one more flow here.
Am I audible?
Yeah,
Mani,
yeah.
I have a question on first
Okay.
question. Can I go to first question?
Um, Maybe it will not. Okay, let me restart. Okay.
So here you
Mm.
are raising an error
Mm.
and you are using payload, right?
Mm.
So generally the response could be error description, right? For the payload in the listener. The, so
Mm.
how the payload will be displayed there?
Yeah, you can see in the change it to the payload content. Listener return payload.
Okay,
So Teja, actually, that is the payload. It is asking about what the output, right? As you are not overriding the payload, right? Error is that creating different object. It is populating in the different object. Until unless you are not overriding, right? It will
got it. I
display the
understand.
whatever the payload. It is talking about the payload, right? Not the final output, right?
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this particular flow, he was expecting what is the status code. Any answer?
Many times he has said, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
When we are having propagate, by default, it will throw in as a status code with the
Yeah, so
500.
most
Okay.
of them have given the 500. So
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Next step. Next question. Like here is having two flows. One is the private flow, and one is the main flow. this main flow calling the private flow. In the private flow is not handling any error, is having rise error. Okay, it will come to the flow reference. Okay, in the continue it is not handling any error. Definitely it will go to here. Then what will be the answer? What will be the payload here?
Teja has given B, Prashun has given C.
Yeah, it will not continue like here. It will go to the another continue and it will print the value C. It will not print the value B. Okay.
Mani, I have one question. So you
Yeah.
said there is private flow and subflow. So
Mm.
private flow without a listener is equivalent to subflow only, right?
Private flow.
Whatever the
Like private flow doesn't have a subflow doesn't have any source, but when we are having private flow, we are having source, but we are not using any listener or scheduler or something like that. Then we are calling as a private
Yeah,
flow. Both
private
are
flow is
similar.
the same as a flow, only the difference is it doesn't has the source.
Source and error handler. Subflow doesn't have
Yeah.
any error handler.
Subflow doesn't have anything, right?
okay, thank you.
Yeah. Next, here it will print the error C, value C. Okay. Next, here two flows and flows. One is private flow having another propagate. It will print. It will uh, it will come to this one. Then it will check it here on error continue into values. Okay. It will continue this one and it will print the value C. What is the answer? Like, did you receive any answers from people?
I think Teja has given C option. Prashun has given D.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, in the propagate, right? It will. Here there was no error handler or like error type has, but it will come to this flow reference. Then it will check it here. Then it will print the value C. Like, let's see what will happen. Okay. Here one more flow is there. Here is a main only for single flow. Is error type is expression. So what will be the answer here? I won't tell. You can tell me. I will give the answer.
People has given D, I think. Prashana has given A.
Yeah, let me explain. Like here, there is a custom error, like app dot my error. Here is handling expression, but it will not go to this another container, right? So by default, it will print the like based upon this flow, it will print the value A. It will not print the value B. Before error, whatever payload is there, it will print it. Yeah, here in this flow, we are flow two flows, each private flow and main flow having another continuous. Both flow it doesn't have any error type. By default, it's taking as any. What will be the payload? Any answer? Answer is B. Like it will continue this one and it will check. It will also continue the and it will print the value B. Here one more flow. Here is expecting what is the status code for the another continue. 200. Yeah. Here we are having single flow payload A and rise error and payload B in the on error continue value C. What will be the answer? My answer is C. It will go. Here we are not defining any error, right? Error type is not defined. So it will go to this on error continue. It will print the value C. Yeah. Here uh, error handler and return success to the caller flow and the main flow. Which component we can use and we can give the success response. We can use the on error continue and we can give the we can get the success response. Error handle specific event processor within a flow. Any answer? Even process like per specific connector for suppose to handle it in the particular flow we can use the try scope. Throw a specific error in a flow we can use the rise error. Error handler and return error to the caller inflow. Like we can use the propagate and we can give the error response. Let me finish. 14 out of 14. Okay. I hope this session will be helpful. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mani, for this valuable session. Hope everyone has enjoyed and get the benefit from this session. Okay, and this session is very important. You have considered all the scenarios which will also useful for certification. Either you go for the renew your certification or you go for the certification either the level 1 or level 2 certification. This is the very useful, this is the key mantra for the error handling. You at least I ensure that you will not that's miss score into the error handling part. You get the 100% score into the error handler part. Okay, thank you all the audience to listening carefully and participating. Right, we got the good questions from your side as well, right? And also that's you participated and good healthy discussion we had. So thank you very much for your time. Thank for your participation. I would not like to take your much time. Reason being, we know this is the Saturday. Getting time, from your personal time, it is very difficult, and still you get the time and spend 2 hours here. I'm really appreciate for that. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can reach to us. If you want to become a speaker for our chapter, you can reach to us. We can facilitate you. If any questions regarding to this session or any help required from us, you can directly connect with us via LinkedIn or MuleSoft meetup chapters. We will be happy to help you. Okay, so before closing this, we are having this one photo snaps. If you can come onto the video, it would be great. We can take a that's snap. Also, I would like to request you guys that after the completion of session, it will come for your feedback. Okay, give the proper genuine feedback. It will help us to improve ourselves, and also it will encourage us to continue this kind of activities, right? So please don't forget to give the feedback. Okay, so please come onto the video, whoever make come. Yeah,
Mani, you can stop sharing.
yeah, please, yeah. So only two. Anyone more, please? Devanshu, Shuman, John, Chetan. If you guys can come on video. Okay, so Devanshu, you can take the snaps. Okay.
Just give me 1 minute. One more minute, Mukesh.
Okay.
Yes.
Done?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Thank you.
you. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Thank you very much.
So,
Okay. Bye.
thank you all.